Well, now, thought for the day, for Larbert Baptist Church, the 10th of April, when the Saviour was tempted by the devil. This is one of the items with which he was tempted. The devil showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory, and he said to him, all these things will I give you if you fall down and worship me. Later on in the record of the Saviour's ministry, the Saviour was speaking to his disciples, and he was telling them that he must go to Jerusalem, and the elders and the Pharisees and the scribes must put him to enormous suffering and kill him, and the third day he would rise again. Now, to both of those, the temptation which the devil brought to bear upon the Saviour, and the alternative which Peter brought when he began to rebuke the Saviour. Far be it from you, he said, Lord, this shall not happen to you. To both of those, the Saviour used the same words. Away with you, Satan. Get behind me, Satan. The same unvarnished plainness is given to Satan and to Peter. The same expression of anger and exasperation are found to Satan and to Peter. And is there not some explanation for it? The power of Satan is the ruler of the darkness of this world. But Peter was a well-meaning but impetuous disciple of the Lord. And yet the Saviour uses the same words to Satan and to Peter. Why? Why? I think one explanation is that the horror of Calvary and the utter appallingness of what would beset our Saviour in Jerusalem was so enormous that he could not bear the thought that the power either of the devil or of the disciple would drive him away from the awful fact of his suffering for us. In Hebrews chapter 5, verse 7, we read that the Saviour in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications with vehement cries and tears to him who was able to save him from death. That is an expression of the awfulness of Calvary, the intolerable awfulness that would beset him in Jerusalem. My soul, he said, is exceeding sorrowful, even to death. I don't know how to bear it, said the Saviour. Oh, my Father, if this cup cannot pass away from me unless I drink it, your will be done. Yes, your will, but oh, it was awful. Until we reach the passage when the Saviour is on the cross and he cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me? It was colossal. It was awful. The horror of Calvary was not only the agony of the wounds upon the body, nor the anticipation of the mind concerning what would take place, nor the erosion and demolition of all one's powers while being conscious of it, nor the anguish stretching out and out to the extinction at the end of it. But there was the utter rejection of the sin bearer. The heaps upon heaps of evil deeds and thoughts and desires which were laid upon him. The rejection of God's will across all our centuries of disobedience. The utter hell which our sin made inevitable. the waylaid demolition which our iniquities have made to be our history, all of it. It was unbearable to the Saviour. It was unbearable when Satan took his temptation. It was a ridiculous temptation in itself. But the awfulness of the fact of Calvary gave an anticipation to the Saviour of a way out. And the words of the Saviour are the words of the Apostle Peter. This shall not be your calling at all, he said. Either way, it was the work that was diverting the Saviour from the one crucial point that he came to give his life a ransom for many. And he was steadfast. He was absolutely convinced. And out of his suffering came our death, our resurrection, our restoration, our peace with God, our hope for life everlasting, only through Christ, only through the Christ that died and rose again. That is the heart of the gospel. God bless you. Good night.